Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. A lot of family things, farm life, just everyday busy. I had to put motorcycle work off to the side. You've probably seen I did have a video with my CNC machine that came up on the channel. I refitted a Benchman VMC. It was more useful to future projects. But anyways, we are now coming back to the CB750 project. I'm wanting to get this done and move on. So in the interim of all this time, I have a large format 3D printer, and I drew off and attempted to print a seat hump that I could use as a one-off to make the seat hump and the seat tray. So we'll kind of show you what we got. I'm by no means a professional or really adequate 3D printer. I really experimented with it, and due to the print times, I tried to put a larger nozzle in there and had lots of troubles, but it still made a usable seat hump that'll have minimal repair need when it comes time to make the item. So here we are, the seat hump in position. So now all we have to do is come up with the actual seat pan area, and generally what I'll do is I'll put like some masking tape on these bars, and then I buy the rolls of foam tape, and I stick the foam tape on here, so that gives me an offset, and then I'll use my packing tape. So if you've watched some of my other videos when it comes to making seat trays, actually I do have one, I think it was for the FJ project. I made a video on how I made the seat tray. I'm basically going to mimic this, so we probably won't get a whole lot of detail into laying it up, but we will cover some of it. Anyways, this is my 3D printed. You can see I did it in multiple layers on the inside. This thing, the reason I wanted the 1mm nozzle was to cut the print time down on it. I didn't want 2 days worth of printing to print this large item. But anyways, this is the only bad section, but like I said, the other layer came out fine. It was this outer layer here that was sagging on me, so it created these kind of deep grooves, but still more than adequate to use as a one-off. So, and basically I cut the holes in the bottom here, so it's set over the top of these studs that's on here, and then sets in position. If I can get back on. So then that allows me to make my light system, which I will potentially use the new CNC machine to machine the item to bolt back in here that'll house the LED lights. So we'll see. I got it kind of mocked up with the hump on there that's 3D printed, and I ended up, instead of using tape, which I normally do, I ended up having some 1-inch PVC pipe that I basically split down the center line, or a little less than center line, so it'd be more of a snap fit on there, and then a piece of scrap plywood. Now this is all going to get taped as one unit, and so when I lay the glass will go over the top of this. So if you've watched my previous video on this in my FJ project, or how to make a seat tray, etc., you'll see how I kind of do it there with the tape. So basically, taking this off, this is repurposed. This was a piece of plywood from a flange from making a mold. As you see, there's the PVC pipe, snaps right on, and then what it does is I'm not going to, you kind of see how the 3D printed part is only right to here. Well, that's basically what I want with the fiberglass part. So the fiberglass part will do the same thing once it's all set in place here, except for this thickness, which is about 1/8 of an inch, or 3 millimeters for you metric guys. What that'll do is I use adhesive back, once the frame has been powder coated, I use adhesive back rubber tape, and I apply it in the area that you're going to set, so it acts as a cushion so that you're not rubbing on the paint. And then the extra, so that this thickness right here is what we're trying to offset when we make the seat tray. And when the fabric is applied and the upholstery is applied to the seat tray, it gets folded underneath, and that'll also add to this thickness. So what we're trying to do is compensate for the upholstery thickness and the thickness of the rubber that's going to be put down here. All right, here it is. It's all taped up. I used just so nice quality packaging tape, preferably brown, but every time I go to do this, I'm always out of brown packaging tape, because the brown is the plastic brown packaging tape is easier to see your overlap, so you got to really pay attention when you use the clear and kind of get some good light on it so you can see if you got any missed areas. If you've watched the previous videos, don't worry too much about imperfections. Try to get most of the wrinkles and stuff, not having a bunch in there, but for the most part, when you lay the glass on the outside, it's going to be really rough on the top anyways, and 85% of these little tiny wrinkles and stuff like that, you won't even notice them on the exterior surface of applying your matting. As I said, this is all pulled down tight. I use the blue tape because the packaging tape likes to leave adhesive on your parts, so I use the blue packaging tape or the masking tape to help minimize how much adhesive gets left. I mean, sometimes you need a little bit because the packaging tape doesn't like to stick to that blue tape very well, but the plastic tape is your mold release to get your part off. When you do this, make sure that if you're going to have something that wraps, you got to be able to get your part off once this is cured, so be careful with wrapping too far underneath. You won't be able to get your part off of your bike. So undercuts, so it would be called undercuts. For me, I'm not going that far down. It's only going to wrap partially down to the tube of the frame. I didn't have any more foam tape, but so I used like 5 layers of really thick duct tape and put a build-up here, so that'll give me a gap off of the tank. If I decide to use fiberglass up here and then run my foam up to it, same thing with back here. All right, seat hump is just laid up. I just finished. Kind of give you a breakdown of it if you watched some of my other videos. On the seat section where you're going to rest your butt, you want a minimum of 4 layers. 5 to 6 is preferred, simply because of the weight. So if you're a really big person, then you're definitely going to want 6. So like I said, small 4, but I would still go around the 5 to 6 layers just in the seat section, so it doesn't flex or break if you bounce on it. Depends on how thick your padding is, etc. Back here I got 2 layers. If you watch the other video I have on fiberglass, one-off fiberglass molds or parts, you'll see how I laid up, and I did the exact same thing with this particular seat hump. And as you can see now, when this thing comes off and I remove the PVC pipe from here, it'll be standing off approximately 1/8 of an inch on the underside, so it'll allow for me to put the rubber stripping and to have the cloth or fabric from the upholstery wrapping underneath in this section here. If I go that route, most likely I may end up just putting a seat pad in here and then just go with the heavier, or put 2 layers, 1 layer of rubber strip on the bottom side of the seat tray and 1 layer strip on the actual frame itself. That's most likely what I'll do, but time will tell. Things change as you get progressing along. And then, like I said, once this pops off, then it's going to get trimmed where it's about halfway in the actual frame of the bike itself, and then we're all golden. All right, now that's all cured up, I took a permanent marker and drew with a straight edge in the outline, you can kind of see it's kind of semi-transparent, so I could see where my reference line was from the 3D printed item. So I created a line all the way here, because when you take this off, it's going to be clear. So it's nicer to put a permanent marker line, especially on any of the edges, stuff like that, so you know where to cut the excess off. So at this point, we got it all marked up. I'm going to take this thing off of here, get it trimmed, and move forward. All right, it's all done. It's trimmed. It's basically diamond in the rough at this point. So we, just as a note, this thing was pretty tough to get off, especially in the thicker areas, and very little to grab a hold of. The excess hanging off back here helped grab. Make sure you use gloves to get this off so you don't get fiberglass splinters. But once I got worked on one side, it just peeled right off the tape. Here's the excess. Nothing got destroyed. I mean, even my seat hump is reusable. The tape just peels right off, and if any tape comes out onto this, it peels right out. Super easy. But at this point, we are done with the basics in this seat hump. We're going to call this episode done, and we'll move on to our next section. I'm undetermined, so in between now and then, which for you maybe only seconds, I'll determine what I'm going to do next. That's it.